Speaking of negotiations, when it comes to money, right? There's the internet's talking, and there's been apparently some negotiation. Apparently, the 50-50 conversation has reached a new fever pitch, right? Because now married couples, it's more common. Let's say it's less common to see joint bank accounts. Now, I do means I do. Yes, we both do, but we don't do in the same from the same money. What do you guys think about that? I mean, our cultural attitude shifting, is responsibility shifting. Is this does this change the argument on providership? I mean, there's so many questions there. I'm sure I missed some. What do you guys think?
So I think personally that women keeping the money separate is a good thing for them. I think that there should be a joint account and then that there should be separate accounts for each individual person in the marriage. Because in particular, so as a woman, I feel like actually protects them from financial abuse and dependency. And from the men's side, it may protect them from feeling like they're being used. And so if there's for someone that whatever reason with this conversation was 50-50 is that they walk away, the woman used them in divorce and so forth, and they take 50% of whatever. Well, maybe this is an opportunity where you as men, not you guys, but men in general, don't have to feel like that pressure of all their shit going to be taken from them or 50% of that shit was going to be taken away from them because they have a separate bank account and therefore they have separate activities that they can pay attention to within their separate bank account. For women, like I said, it's all about like avoiding financial abuse and having some independency within the relationship itself while maintaining the joint account. I don't think it's too big of a big deal to have a separate account. Now, if everything's separate, now that is a problem because then it becomes like there may be multiple conversations in regards to finances because finances is the top 3 reasons for divorce, maybe top 5 now. But regardless, I think it's all good. I think that this whole generational, like the past generational wife where she couldn't have the finances and so forth, them days are done. I'll be honest. My mother told me that I should have a separate account. My grandmother told me make sure I have a separate account. I did not listen. I had all joint accounts. And so so it's almost like I'm about to be contrary. But later on, I did get a separate account. But anyways, the point is the mothers are telling the kids to get their separate accounts, right? They're telling the women that you need your financial independence. They're telling the women that you need this separate account. And now we're actually seeing that trend. And because everybody act like the relationships are now transactional, that's what's happening. This is the manifestation of something that we saw starting in the early 90s of separate accounts, separate relationships.
This is what we get by letting a woman go first on this topic. Sorry, SNL.
Whatever.
She's the only one.
Because I felt like you were kind of straddling a lot of fences there because the story, if I recollect, right, that couples are keeping their shit separate. It's not about whether you should have a separate account. I think the first part of that made a lot of sense. You're right. There's different ways to structure it so that a person can have some privacy or some independence, right? If we're talking about a record number of couples who are moving separately financially, it goes at the face of this idea of using marriage to build generational wealth. And let me tell you the number one reason. Y'all motherfuckers can't be good with money by yourselves. And I'm talking about people in general, not just men or women. I'm talking about both. Like, you need each other. You know, like even right now, from just math, equation wise, and I just don't trust that people are going to be disciplined individually to plan separately to like make it come together towards the end. It just sounds like you're planning for failure, in my humble opinion. This is not about the romanticism of it all. I'm just talking about strictly from just math, right? Expecting 2 people to move separately. Now, if you're talking about, hey, I got my holdings over here, you got your holdings over here, and we come to the table and we discuss it, and for whatever reason, we want to feel better about keeping them separate, fine. But we're not talking about that most likely. It's more like, hey, here's the bill, so I'm going to do my part. Here's your part. You put it in. I'm going to keep it over here. I'm going to keep it over here. Cool. Right? Are y'all planning together that way? I'd be willing to bet 99% of people who are moving like that are not planning well that way. Because you know why? Being married means ebbs and flows. So sometimes you'll have some ebbs, other person might have a flow. So like if y'all moving like that, I get it if y'all are financially capable, but your credit scores tell me otherwise, right? Like we're in the So theoretically in some mystical place, I get it. But in practice, no. You know what I've seen? I've seen the partner who makes the more money live a different lifestyle sometimes than the other partner. I've seen the other partner feel some type of way about that because it's like, well, damn, are we in this together or no? Right? I've seen the inequities, right? So listen, if it works, who am I to judge? I'm just saying we can't be here talking about generational wealth, which part of the whole thing, and I get it that as Black people, this probably affects us even more because we're not communal anyway. If this was like the other communities who are really good with money and whatever. Okay, because they have a community element there. You know what I mean? They look out for each other. They got susus and shit. Shit like that. If it was that, okay, but it's not that. There's no hood. There's no community. We don't even got a community bank. You know what I'm saying? And y'all want to take the community out of marriage too, and think that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? I get the trauma of the past, but how many of y'all have been financially abused? And if you were, are you now the financial abuser? Because I've seen that too. Because some of y'all, the reason why some of y'all want this is because y'all are the ones making more money. It's not fun when the rabbit has the gun, right? So I get it, you know what I mean? But long term, you gonna be good, but not y'all, right? He gonna have to fend for himself. Or whatever. I don't understand where in the world any of this makes just financial sense. Unless y'all are disciplined enough, transparent enough, consistent enough, honest enough, right, to do the shit. And I just don't see that happening for real, which is why this whole thing is calamitous. It just kind of further shows that we are quickly on the way to hell in a handbasket. Is that the phrase we were looking for a couple episodes? Right? Because marriage is doomed if you think this is something that should be done amongst everyone, because y'all niggas don't have enough money to be keeping y'all shit separately. I'm talking about the masses. And then for those of y'all who got a little bit extra, I feel you. Good luck. You're not going to be married that long, but go ahead, man.
So, super quick, I just want to add one thing when it comes to the generational wealth piece. When you talk about financial literacy, then technically they still can build generational wealth, although it's not in the joint account, right? I understand what you're saying and where you're going with this, but generational wealth can be built through life insurance policies. Generational wealth can be built through other means besides having joint bank accounts. So, but that's only if the people are financial literate enough, so i.e. having wills and trusts and so forth, and able to do so. So even if they're moving separately, that doesn't exclude them from generational wealth. And the reason why I say this is because one of the arguments that men tend to make is the reason why they don't have to marry their baby mamas is because they can technically still pass their wealth to their children if they have children through these other functions.
Well, hold on, Jay. Hold on. I'm sorry. I got to correct the record because, again, we talking, but we're not talking. Just because you have a life insurance policy, let's say it's decent. Good for you. Is your kids going to know how to spend that money? How quickly they're going to dissolve? That's not wealth, right? To me, in my humble opinion, it's a mindset,
True.
Right? It's how you build and how you move. So I'd be hard pressed to look at all of the super wealthy people that I've seen, the majority of them be married, and not wonder like how was that beneficial to them to do that. And I get their finances could be separate, but all I'm saying is for most people who rose up and shit, it's not an individual sport. You get what I have just, maybe you'd have to point it out for me. So this idea that you can do it this way is only like a very small sliver. And then I would question the person who is that financially literate to not have made a better decision about their partner that they're choosing to merge their financially literate business life with, right? And then be like, you know what, because I don't trust this person, or because I don't think they're going to make enough money, or because of whatever reason, I'm going to keep my shit separate. I don't know where the poor person is doing that. If you're showing up rich, shut my mouth, right? But I just don't know how that works. I'm sorry, Jay. That's what I'm talking about.
Go ahead. I was going to respond, but I think you did that. I'll let you guys carry on before I say my piece.